them open. Let's see here. Let's start with the original one that was on the motor. It's this one.
Sorry, I got a phone call and cut it off, but I get the rest of the message. Yeah, just let me know. Let me know if you need me to go get anything.
So after doing some more... Hello! That was a doozy. After doing some more research on what the metal pin was, it looks like it's some kind of roller pin. Like the pin that the roller spins on, the rocker, and how it's got that little roller. That's what it looks like. So that's what I'm thinking it is. We're going to have to get that passenger side valve cover apart and actually look and see what's going on inside the motor now. See if this thing will stay. It's not wanting to stay right now. So it seems like needs a rocker for sure. Motor's running good though. Other than that cylinder 6 misfire, real clean. The oil's real clean now. There's a little bit of buildup still in the valve cover. I did use the BG treatment on today's live stream. And the reason I didn't do it right away is you want to take a motor that's completely sludged up and run BG through it. You know what kind of stuff that would cause. That would cause a lot of problems. So I went easy with it. I used light treatments to flush out as much as I could before using the BG treatment. And once I used the BG treatment today, it's like almost crystal clean inside the motor. This is the original one that was on it when we got it. Let's not start with the daddy mommy stuff on recommending people using gloves and stuff like that, guys. I'm not 20 years old where I need to be reminded. It's not something I'm fond of. And if you've been on this channel for any kind of time at all, you know I don't like that shit. Don't start with it now. Completely plugged. That's MMO. This is diesel and kerosene. Let's cut this one open because this was the second one I did. Or no, this is the first one I did. Yeah, it looks like it's part of the roller rocker. That's the diesel and kerosene, all that junk underneath the cap that washed out of there. All the carbon deposits and soot. That was the first flush I did because it was the least problematic to start with. And that was that bottle of those quarts of motor flush. And this is only 30 minutes of running. Yeah, 30, 45 minutes of running, somewhere in there. A lot of junk inside this filter. A lot of buildup inside this. A lot of carbon deposits and stuff inside this oil. You can even see right there, well, it's kind of hard to see without being directly out in the light. There's a lot of junk inside this. This was the Marvel Mystery Oil and the first engine stabilizer treatment. When you're flushing a motor that's this bad, you don't ever want to go straight to the heavy stuff right away. Because you do that and you don't have all kinds of problems. You're going to wash stuff in the bearings and everything else. You always risk that chance when you do a motor flush, especially a severe case. But I went light to start with, and then I stepped it up and stepped it up, stepped it up. This was the third flush. I mean, what are you going to do, Daniel? You're going to go ahead and throw a $5,000 motor in it, 20 some hours of labor, or are you going to at least give it a shot, you know? You know how many motors I've done where people are like, oh, you're crazy, you're never going to be able to save that motor. Those people are still on the road today. And they're fine. This was the MMO and a little bit of that oil stabilizer. There's a little bit of crud and soot. Little chunks of stuff around the cap. Looks like there might be some light metal particles around this ring. You can't see them because of the light, but they're little shiny pieces. This is about 30-40 minutes of running. It's pretty nasty. You can actually see some little shiny particles and stuff where it started washing out any of the bearing material or whatever may have come loose in there, or that rocker come loose. Yeah, there's some little shiny pieces of metal and stuff over here on the side of the case. Oh, this is at work. I'm at work out in the parking lot. What was the last one I did? The last one, this is ATF. This is trans fluid and motor oil and oil stabilizer. So trans fluid and motor oil. I didn't notice much of a color change with the trans fluid and the motor oil. Diff oil. I didn't put any differential oil in there. They may. It's always a chance you risk. You may flush an engine that's that severe, and you may end up running into problems down the road. Sure, absolutely. And I explained that when we started, you know, that this may be something you run into. If you want to give it a shot, then let's try. If not, we got to put a motor in it. Oh no, I forgot the AMS oil at work. AMS oil for my car. I was going to do my motor flush tonight. Now I can't, not my motor flush, but my oil change and get it sent off to Blackstone. But I can't get it done because I don't have the oil on me. So I just do it tomorrow. This is about an hour running on trans fluid or so, 45 minutes. It barely did anything. There's some little pieces and stuff around the cap, but trans fluid I thought would work a lot better than what it did, and it didn't. Trans fluid actually doesn't work that well unless you're driving it like that long term. You can see this filter is kind of clean compared to the other ones. It doesn't work as well. It'll clean a little bit, real slow, but it's not the ultimate cleaner like people say. With a motor this sludged up, you would think that it would really do a number on the sludge, and it didn't. Yeah, there's barely anything in the can at all. Some little pieces and stuff, some little carbon in there seem to have come out, but nothing too crazy. It's pretty clean. Now, that's the rinse oil. Alright, here's the BG stuff. This is the stuff y'all been waiting for. This is the engine flush, the first kit. Yep, you definitely missed it because we've been talking about this for weeks now. You sludge. This is the first cleaning kit that did most of the work. Nasty. That's what that BG stuff does compared to all the other products. It is just nasty. It's like tar in here. See how nasty it is? It's just dripping. It don't even come off like the rest of the oil does. That's how that sludge is still in there. That BG just melts that stuff out of that motor. I'll show you how well it does and how thick it is. Look how that oil is just staying caked to the side of that from chewing up that sludge. What's up, Ant? Here's the rinse oil. Yeah, it's got all kinds of debris and pieces of carbon and stuff all over in there. Oh my God. Look at the first BG filter compared to this one. Now you can start to see the color of it where it washed everything out. Still like sludge though. You can see all the junk inside the. You ain't gonna be able to see it there. Look how thick that stuff still is that it washed out of there. And there's definitely metal. After it washed all that stuff out, there's definitely metal particles in there. Look like maybe rocker material or something like that based on what we seen earlier with that pin. This stuff is nasty. So that BG product, it really did work, man. It did. It worked better than anything we tried. Out of all of the stuff that I've been trying since this oil testing series, out of everything that I tried, not a single product on the market so far has even touched the BG products. And I noticed a lot of the fanboys before of the diesel and the antifreeze and all, or not antifreeze, but the ATF and all this other stuff. When they first started watching me, they told me I was crazy. They told me I was just wasting my money and wasting my time talking about this BG snake oil. And then look what happens. Blow them all out of the water, and now they're on my page like, hey man, thanks, that BG worked great, man. Flushed out my motor. It did what nothing else would do. I said, yeah, maybe y'all should take a seat sometimes and listen. You don't have to know it all. I still learn stuff every single day. Like I'm asking you guys for help on this Nissan because I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this Nissan. I just said I would help. I didn't know I was going to get into all this. But here we are. We're trying to do what we can. Snake oil, huh? Snake oil. So I tell people all the time, that's what that BG rep, he reached out to me on the channel and he said, dude, I have to appreciate, I appreciate everything that you're doing right now because there's nobody will believe us because they see us as salesmen. We don't know what we're talking about. We're just salesmen. But when they see somebody like you that does this stuff every single day and they get to see what goes on in these motors, you can't lie. It's right in front of your face. Alright, well, we cut those filters open. I'd like to go ahead and get cleaned up and just go home for now, man, after standing here or being here all day on this. But I almost feel like it would be a disservice for me to leave and go home and not pull that valve cover. When should these... Well, you can find basic kits. I talk about it all the time. Basic kits. They have cans that look just... By the way, this is the best fuel cleaner I've seen on the market so far. 44K. This right here from BG seems to be the best stuff I've ever seen. But it's expensive. There's better products... Or there's products that are more affordable that work very well. Anthony's going to send me some AMSOIL stuff. I know AMSOIL is very, very good oil. They have very good additives, so we're going to see. We also have to decipher between... Let's go out here. Let's see here. Just take a breather, right? Just relax. Smell that BG in the air. It's like pheromones. So, if we're going to run products that work, we're going to look at big name products, right? There's obviously old wives' tales, and there's things that people have believed for a long time that have worked for certain things, such as freeing up stuck lifters and oil control rings and stuff like that. ATF does do that. I've used it. Kerosene and diesel does clean a motor very well, but it takes a long time for it to have the effect that something like an industrial product like BG.
Honestly,
You're all right. You're good.
yeah.
They know other people are here. So when we're looking at products and chemicals and stuff based on what's available to the consumer versus what we have to sell to a shop. You know, there's obviously going to be some kind of difference there. Why do you think BG won't just sell to you? Why can't you just go down to the local store and buy a BG product right off the shelf? It's potent stuff. It can hurt you. It can do some serious damage if you do not use it correctly. There's a reason why they sell it to only professional establishments. There's a reason for that. You know, I can go anywhere and buy AMSOIL. I can go anywhere and buy Redline. I can go anywhere and buy this stuff. For God's sake, AMSOIL's on the damn shelf now at Farm and Fleet or whatever. You can go buy it by the quart or the case right at Farm and Fleet now. You used to never be able to do that before. Now you can. You can't do that with BG products. You can find it on Amazon, but from what I understand, the guy that's selling it on Amazon, it's not legit. You know, he's not supposed to be selling it on Amazon. But he's the only one on Amazon that's getting away with it so far. So when we look at the product availability versus industrial type products, you're always going to want to go with a top shelf type product like an AMSOIL engine flush or an AMSOIL oil or something like that. BG, they have oil too. They have those types of things, but you're not going to get it from just the local AutoZone. I've heard of TerraClean, but I've never tried anything like that. You know, I can take my hand and stick it in an engine flush from any manufacturer that's available to the public. I can stick my hand right in it. Take my hand right out, wipe it off, wash my hands, no problem at all. You take your hand and stick it down inside a container of EPR and pull it out and see if you don't feel some kind of damn tingling in your skin and stuff turning red. There's a reason for that. You know, when you take a pre-workout supplement or something and they got that, what is it, that the tingling sensation that they put in there to make you feel all fuzzy and burny and stuff. It's not beta-alanine or something, is it? Beta-alanine? And they're trying to get that stuff off the market. You can still find those available to the public, but people get all hot in the face and tingling under their eyelids, their fingertips and stuff, and it gives them this little bit of a rush. Makes them feel like they're on fire. There's a reason for that. Niacin too. It's not niacin is not what I'm talking about though, but niacin does that as well. A lot of guys that go back in my early years, we had a buddy that he was smoking pot before he was going to go for his parole officer or something like that was going to do a drug test. What did he do? He goes to the damn local Walgreens and gets a box of niacin and starts popping the damn tabs in the back of the car. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Well, I got a drug test tomorrow. I got to flush all this stuff out. Well, he almost overdosed on what they call niacin or whatever. He laid on his front porch on the cold concrete for almost 14 hours while it was trying to clean out of his system and stuff because all that fuzziness, right? People abuse those types of products on the market, so they start taking it out. They start taking it off the market or making it less available or restricting how much you can buy or, you know, to these types of things. Well, it's the same thing with these heavy duty products. You know, they're not going to release a BG product that clearly says on the bottle, like, this shit will harm you if you do not use it correctly. Now you see me digging my hands around in it and putting my hands in the oil and everything else, cutting open the filters and stuff like that, but it's already warmed up. It's already in the oil, it's already diluted and stuff. It's not so harmful at that point. It is still harmful, but it's not so harmful at that point. My skin does tingle a little bit. I got damn alligator skin. Now, I'm not saying I'm immune to anything, but I've been working with stuff long enough to where I know what I can get away with. And if you can go buy a product off the shelf at a local AutoZone or O'Reilly or something like that, or a Farm and Fleet, great. That's fabulous. But you cannot do that with a BG product. And I don't even get paid by them. I just know the stuff works. I've used it time and time again. I wish I could do the demonstrations for you that they do for us, to show you how they hold a rag out in front of them like this, and they dump the product right on the rag, and then within just moments, the rag starts separating and just dissolving. It's kind of one of those things where you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. You know, early on, I still have people that pop up on videos that have been, they'll say, oh, that's just snake oil. Did you not watch the fucking video? Did you not see how bad that motor was when I started and how nice it's running and clean it is now? Looks brand new inside. Did you not watch it? And they still say stuff like that. Oh, it's just snake oil. I don't think you watched the video all the way through, bud. It's all snake oil to everybody. I'm sure gasoline works too, because that's pretty potent. But I'm not going to put gasoline in the combustion motor and expect everything to be okay. It's not. The evaporation rate and I'm not the BG salesperson. Yeah, you can. Oh yeah, I've done it too. I've dumped some gasoline on my hands to wash real quick and then wipe it off. Shit burns, leaves a little cool sensation going on, but you know it is what it is. We find all kinds of stuff to clean our hands. Trans fluid. If I go right before I'm going to a family event or a wedding or something like that, I'll dip my hands. Every at the excuse me, at the end of the day, I'll dip my hands down in a COVID check, right? I'll dip my hands in a trans fluid. I'll wash my hands with that trans fluid. It works great. But when I find using trans fluid to clean out a motor, unless it's just a basic flush, it ain't gonna do very much. Can use BG flush on a 4-cylinder with 115,000 mile oil change every 4 to 5,000. Yeah, you can. You just get a small can of the EPR stuff. It's fine. You ain't gonna do no damage to it. If you've been taking care of that motor and it's a sound motor overall, right, you ain't gonna see any kind of ill effect. If something does happen, there was already something going on with that motor. They design these products to work exactly like they're supposed to without damaging anything. Fort Benning checking in. Fort Polk checking in. We had a guy on here earlier from New York. That's pretty cool. He was with 10th Mountain up there. Hell yeah. Fort Bragg in the house. Benning in the house. Polk in the house. Yeah, somebody popped up the other day and said something like that. Somebody told them never use engine flush stuff. Who in the hell comes up with this stuff? Who in the hell comes up with this don't use motor flush stuff? There's a reason why they make it. It works. It's not too bad to use. You just have to be responsible with it. Yeah, I tried liquid moly. I wasn't super impressed with it. It did work. It get a little bit of stuff out of the motor, but I was not super impressed with liquid moly. The 2021 Ranger STX is a phenomenal product so far. Well, thank you for your service, old Roscoe. Fort Rucker in the house. We got our Navy submariner here. Thank you for your service as well. So, is there anything specific that we need to talk about on engine flushes? As much as I've been involved in being put all over forums and truck, the drive doing an article on me with my sludged up diesel motor and stuff, and my channel kind of blowing up a little bit lately. What else do we need to know about this? What else questions do you have on this stuff? Because I'm all over the place now. I don't know whether or not to be happy or be worried, because I'm getting tagged on truck forums and in maintenance forums, and people writing articles and stuff on me, and I'm hearing that I'm on all kinds of stuff. A-Rod, he wants my body, so he's been asking me to come on with him Wednesday, and I love going on, so it's kind of me volunteering more than anything now. Should you stick to normal use viscosity with the flush? Yeah, you should. unless it's a worn motor. I mean, there's some room for movement, and I think a lot of people don't understand that. Is, on 5W20 Ford motors, it's fine to run 5W20. It's if that's what you're used to running, and there's no noises, and you're not seeing any kind of like, if you're not noticing any kind of abnormal wear or sounds or anything like that, continue running what's supposed to be in the vehicle. But I noticed that about 220,000 miles, the town car started to make just a little bit of noise, not very much, just a little bit. And I noticed that every once in a while. I noticed when I bumped up to a 5W30, it quietened back down again. Just that little bit of increase in weight, the viscosity, it just a little bit quietened it down. And the motor seems to be really happy with it. Just a little bit of a bump. I'm telling y'all, look what RD said right here. I tried to, Lucas is all right, but there's a lot of misunderstanding with Lucas. Lucas engine oil stabilizer, it doesn't have any additives in it. It's just like a 50 weight oil. They've already done the testing and stuff on it. They've sent it off to get it tested, and they've seen no additives or anything in it. It's just to thicken up the oil. It's a little bit of a stabilizer, increase in viscosity to mix with the stuff that's already there to kind of give you a little bit more of a quietness in the valve train and stuff. So that's why a lot of people claim Lucas works. Well, it works because it's a thicker additive, or it's a thicker oil you're dumping in with thin oil, so it brings that viscosity up some. But there's no real stone cold additive or anything in that package that actually helps the vehicle. Their fuel injector cleaner and stuff, some say works. I've never really had that much of a success with it. The most success I've ever had with a general off of the shelf product has been at Techron. Even way back when I was younger and going through tech school and stuff like that, the instructors would say, look man, there's a lot of fuel additives and stuff out there. Unless you're getting a name brand hardcore product, Redline, AMSOIL, something like that, you're not going to be getting a good, you're not even beginning to get that chance of cleaning those injectors in that fuel system. You need something name brand, something that's going to stand out. And even though Lucas is name brand, I've never seen that increase with them, to be honest with you. Seafoam a little bit, Marvel Mystery Oil a little bit, but Techron, I've noticed a big improvement using Techron fuel cleaner. It just kind of, I guess you just find what works for you. But what RD said up here is a lot of people are asleep when people leave these comments and stuff, and I think we should be paying attention. I tried so many different products, and I watched your vid on the BG a little while ago. It saved my Jeep. Cylinders were down to 80, 90 PSI and brought them all back up to 150 PSI. There was a lady last week. She said me and my husband chose to do the BG EPR clean, just the basic can and the MOA, and he followed your instructions, used gloves, all that stuff. And it actually stopped smoking on startup now. Just like that last one I did where it kind of took it away pretty much completely. But I did specify with a disclaimer, there's always a chance this could come back. This needs to be a reoccurring thing that needs to be flushed over and over and over again to get those oil control rings unfrozen or ungunked up so that it can actually drain properly, scrape, all these types of things. And if you're not using a good, solid, strong product, you're not cleaning like you think you are. Techron is a very, very, very good off-the-shelf product, and I see they got a synthetic line now, and so does Seafoam. Seafoam has a synthetic line now that you can add to your fuel and stuff. MOA is just a preventative. Even BG tells you don't have to use MOA with EPR, but it's a preventative. It's something that you dump in there to coat the metal components, and it kind of gets it all over everything, and it protects it from any kind of like impurity buildup inside the motor oil. All right, I'll catch up with you, Ant. I think it was. After everybody kept saying that it looks like the pin that the roller rolls on in the rocker. I pulled up pictures of it, and I was like, I'd be a son of a gun. I blew it up, and I got in closer and closer, and I could see that same manufacturer ring on the outside, and I was like, you know what, that's got to be it. It's got to be number 6 had probably came apart, and the rocker's probably sitting up inside the valve cover. The rocker's probably sitting right up in the valve cover, and it just, I'm going to have to figure out what we got to do on that. I mean, I don't exactly know where we're going to go with this. I don't know how it's held down. I don't know very much. Right. BG's been around for years, and it's been one of the only industrial super strong products that actually works, that actually does what it says it's going to do. Oh, it's missing. Cylinder 6 is missing. Well, we got a coil coming for it. I'm going to pull the diesel needing that 15W40. I don't know, a lot of the newer stuff, they're not even using 1540 anymore. Ford specifically states right on their brand new Super Duties, it's been a thing, but it's kind of been like an unspoken thing. If you're gonna, regular duty is 10W30 with Super Duties now, but it says if you're gonna tow, and it's gonna be a severe duty used truck, to use 5W40 now. It says right on the oil cap, for severe duty use 5W40. Oh, you can use it, yeah. It says right on the, they have their own, if you like read the directions that I had on the thing earlier, it says right on the bottom of the directions, they actually have their own kit for diesel stuff. I am, but it's going to get to a point where more posting and more going live, more answering questions, more helping people out, it draws a lot of trolls in. A lot of people try to shut me down, not necessarily like the clickbait type of a specific person that we know on here that says stuff like that. A lot of people threaten. A lot of people, well, I'm going to call your employer, and oh, I got my own shop. You can call my employer and get me fired. I'll come here and make money. I mean, I got plenty of work. I got people waiting to get in. So come on with it. Get me fired. You're going to do me a favor. When they come in and say, you're fired, and I'm going to say, unemployment. I have no business license. Let's go. Let's do it. I got 5W40 in here right now. I got that Rotella T6 heavy duty. Says it protects against, who's my tailor? I don't have a tailor. This is a shirt, a military shirt off of Rothko, Amazon. I love Rothko's military stuff. I have a bunch of military shirts. I still have a bunch of military gear. Don't worry, I'm ready if anything ever happens. I got a bunch of military gear still. But I have a lot of people that try to affect my private life. Let's just keep it like that. But I manage it well. .504, 507, I don't even know what that is. What do those numbers mean? Yeah, I don't get into all the numbers and stuff that everybody else does. I look at the bottle and say, okay, is this stuff rated for my vehicle? Okay, it is, it's going in. I don't get all hung up and wrapped up on all that other stuff, because I find myself stressing more over that if I do. 0W16 in my Super Duty. Oh, good luck. I hope it lasts for you. Well, a lot of the stuff with the Mustangs are changing, you know. People, I have to remind the lube techs all the time, hey, remember that PTS is telling you don't lube that O-ring on that filter when you spin it on those Mustang motors, them 5-liter motors. It says to put it on there dry because of the vibration. They're worried about it backing off. Favorite Ford engine? The old 5.0 Mustang motor, the roller motor. I love that motor. You beat the living hell out of it. You can run whatever you want. You could piss in that motor and it'd still run. It'd run just fine. (2015 to 16) 3.5 F-150 is doing with the carbon buildup on the intake valve. I mean, I don't really have any of those that come in with problems with intake valves. Yeah, there's a lot of junk on them, but I haven't seen any so far that has caused an issue with like misfiring or valves hanging open or something like that. They look terrible. When you pull the intake manifold off and you're looking down at the backside of those valves, they look horrendous. Rich, do I drive very spirited? Yeah, I do. I drove it like it's meant to be. I drive that damn thing like it's meant to be driven. I beat the living hell out of that thing. And it asks for more. That 462 valve, I'm surprised the damn motor lasts like it does. I keep the oil changed every 3,000 miles and I beat the living shit out of that motor. Oh, I let her eat, man. I'll turn on that can shift, and I'll let that thing rock out 6,500 RPM before I hit the next. Whop, whop. I think I'm a Subaru racer or something like that. It'll roll, and she'll take it. Best motor oil so far. Best motor oil that I've touched is Pennzoil Platinum Ultra that I've touched. Now I do have Amsoil in the Dodge, and it does seem to make it a little bit quieter than the Pennzoil does, but maybe just a tad. It's expensive, but there's a reason why you're paying for it. So far, the best motor oil that I've used is the Pennzoil Platinum Ultra. I just love that stuff, man. I swear by it. Ford has been known to be the best truck manufacturer in the world for a long time. But up until 2015, that was probably the case for the most part. But when 2015, 2016 hit, and it was all the plastic oil pans and the timing issues and the engine knocks and being in the shop all the time, they lost a lot of credibility. And a lot of people are second guessing and going to a lot of the Toyota trucks and stuff now, a lot of the Dodge trucks and stuff now, which I don't blame them. I'm not hating on those people for doing that. I understand the distaste and the distrust and stuff. I get it. I'm trying to work through all that where I still stay faithful and still believe that there's light at the end of the tunnel. Good evening. Has my shop had problems with the electric truck yet? I don't know what that means. We don't have any electric trucks. Ooh, Canadians
federal election. We have 6 parties to choose from. Hopefully the one that stops looking out for everybody else and starts looking out more for Canadians. You guys have been abused and misused for so long by the people that are running Canada that it's unreal. I thought that we had it bad until I really started looking into some of the stuff that was going on in Canada, and I was like, you know what? They are not by any means. Their best interest is not in the interest of the people that are looking out for them at all. So hopefully somebody that really cares about you guys. Somebody asked the question, Jash, whatever, 610. Relax. I'm going to answer the questions. Justin, true. A lot of people hate that guy. Most of the people I know online that talk about him hate him. He seems like he's more in it for money and bribes and tailoring himself to more overseas type stuff than taking care of his own people. So the Bronco sport, so far we've had no problems with the Bronco sport. There's some TSBs out for noises and things like that, and lights not working under certain conditions, but I've not seen a single one of them come in the shop yet. I don't think there's a lot of countries that like America, to be honest with you, because we have a habit of putting our nose in shit that where it doesn't belong. Here's a true story for you. When I was overseas, I was pulling a detail for a general coming in to inspect the post for safety. And I had an Iraqi interpreter in the van with me. He's sitting in the back seat. And he says, Mister, it's Mister or Sir with them. He said, Mister, I got a question for you. And I said, what's that? And his name was Sarge. I said, what's that, Sarge? And he says, why do you think that America wants to be so involved in everybody else's business? Because you guys came to the Middle East, and even though we appreciate the help, you made it 10 times worse. And I said, brother, you ain't telling me nothing that I don't know, man. I'm here because I believe in something, and I think I'm fighting for the right cause, regardless if I am or not. It's something I believe in, and that's why I'm here. And he said, you know, if you guys would focus more on your own country and make the changes in your own country, that would resonate to other parts of the world. And people would see that, and it would almost be leading by example. But instead, you're so focused on everywhere else in the world other than what's going on in your own homeland. And when you have a foreign, I don't know if you call him a foreign national or not, because he does have his citizenship, but he's there as an interpreter. I don't know what you would call him. When you have somebody overseas that lives in basically a third world country that can see your own problem where you're from, that's a problem. That is a problem. When he himself is saying, I don't know why you guys are here, instead of asking for help, that's a problem. That is a huge problem. And also, when we were over there, you just see how corrupt their government and stuff is. You see how bad everything was. But the thing was, he said, I'm going to give you, I don't know if you call it like a metaphor. He said, I'm going to tell you a story about something, and then you'll grasp what I'm saying by the time I'm done. And he said, so many people are dying in our country now. So many people are getting attacked. So many people are just, there's like aimless gangs all over the place, terrorist groups all over the place. But when you guys took Saddam out of power, that's when that happened. Even though Saddam was an evil, nasty man, and people died just because he felt like them dying, what you did was you created a bigger problem. When Saddam was in power, Saddam would say who died and what happened, where this was going on, where that illegal action was going on. He knew what was going on. He was the evil mass behind 99.9% of what was going on, but he knew about it. It was controlled. When you guys took him out of power, You basically released all these little small groups all over the place that are trying to lay claim and make a stake and a name for themselves, and now people are dying all over the place. You created a bigger problem by doing what you did. More people, magnitude, like multiple, if we just said 3 or 4 times more people are dying now because you did what you did, and now we're in a worse position than what we were before. He was the one that got to say what happened and didn't happen, and there were at least more people and more families that lived and didn't lose loved ones when he was in power. His fascination was more, oh, you did something illegal that I didn't tell you can do? You're dead. So people didn't do it. People didn't go aimlessly kill people and attack people because they knew if they did that and Saddam found out about it, he would kill them. So they just didn't do it. That was his talk on that. He was like, it's like you took a big glass of fine wine, and that's what Saddam was. And you basically dumped it out and got rid of it, and there's all the residual drops and stuff all over inside it. If you tip that glass upside down, all those little drops dropping all over the place, that's all the little groups you created all over. We used to have a massive fine wine, and maybe you drink too much of it, you got drunk, a little out of your mind. That was Saddam. But now you created these drops and stuff that are all over inside this glass that you can just shake and drop all over the place. And enough of those small drops creates a bigger problem. And he was like, that's what you created here. And I felt bad. I felt bad because, I'm in the middle of this. In the midst of everything that's going on, when somebody from there that lives there is telling me. Anyway, enough with all that. We really need to. We need to do better, man. We just need to do better. We need to stop with all the hating each other and everything being about color and race baiting. And we have YouTubers and stuff that do that, car guys that do that every single day on here. And they bring a lot of that into their content, and they just attack people constantly. And it's like, why? If you see through my videos, the guy that shows up with his Lincoln Town Car sometimes, or not Lincoln Town Car, his Continental, his 2002, he's on the channel. His name is Pops, and he's a black guy. I call him Dad, literally. What's up, Dad? What's up, Pops? Every time I see him, because there's so much respect for that man. I don't see a color. I see a guy that cares for me, that brings me donuts. He checks on me throughout the week and stuff like that. He brings his vehicle to me and says, just do whatever. If you see something that needs to be done, make sure I know about it so the next time I get it scheduled with you. He just takes care of me. We don't see nothing. There's no color issue or anything there. Do you teach your kids as they're growing up that they should see people as... If my daughter ever came home and said something about how another person looked different than her in a negative way, I'd be all over her ass like white on rice. That would not fly. That is not okay in my household. We don't teach that you need to judge people based on their color or what they look or anything. Even when she says things that she doesn't understand, like, why does that girl's lip look that way or something? I'm like, hey, relax. You're a kid. I know you got questions. But that's not okay to make fun of people and stuff like that or whatever. That's called a cleft lip or whatever. She's probably born that way or something happened to her or whatever. It's normal. Some people have that. Don't judge. Be friends with her. Talk to her. We don't do stuff like that. It's not something we're okay with. You treat everybody the same and with the same respect, and that's just how it is. But at the same time, I don't deal with that race baiting stuff either. That's a huge problem that we have right now is people want to be race baiters. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. What else are we talking about? So man, we would be in such a much better place if everybody just learned to respect each other. And if they learn to close their mouth and listen more than actually trying to speak over people as well. That would be huge also. I catch myself doing it. I'm guilty, and I focus sometimes, and I'm thinking in the middle of a conversation. Let me shut up because I shouldn't be talking right now. Or I'll catch myself doing it, and I'll try to finish real quickly with what I'm saying and just tie it off, just so I could stop, and it doesn't seem so awkward and make the room or the conversation awkward, just so I could let other people, because I probably shouldn't be doing that. I've done that before. I've done that many times. This Pennzoil Ultra coming 10 to be 30s, You know what? I didn't see that either. When I was looking at the Pennzoil Platinum Ultra at Walmart on the shelf, I didn't see it. But I think I was able to end up getting it on Amazon. And it took like a month for it to show up. The mystery part looks like it's the roller part of a rocker. But I got to pull the valve cover to verify. Why do Smurfs only have one wife? I don't know. Why is that? Tell me. Is a 1 year, 600 mile OCI okay? No, it's not. Because time is still a degrading factor to additives as well. So I would not wait 1 year to change my oil. If you're going to do it, at least maximum 6 months. Good evening. Love you too, man. Appreciate it. What do you say? Gargamel made Smurfette, otherwise it's a sausage party. Okay. Grinding, scraping sound in front left, 96 Dodge Ram. Should I pull off the front diff cover? What should I do? Expect to see. Why are you sure it's not one of the wheel bearings? Those wheel bearings in those Dodgers are known to go bad very, very fast. They don't last very long. Are you sure it's coming from the diff? What do you want me to say? Go Lions? Go Lions! Want me to scream it? I'll scream it right now so everybody in the damn neighborhood can hear it. I worked with a Ukrainian guy back in the day when I was working in a diesel shop. Me and him were diesel techs together, and we would often train on the road. And I remember one day I had a little bit of a cough. It was cold outside. I was a little sick. And you want me to say go pack go? Or should I say it louder, like go pack go? Like that? I'll do it. I mean, I'll yell. I'll yell it. I'll scream it so those guys in there can hear it. But back in the day, I was working with this Ukrainian dude, and we had to do a tire on the side of the road. The guy's tire blew out, and he heard me coughing a little bit, and he says, Rich, and he's pointing to his nose, he says, maybe like Jameson this much, 7-Up this much, good, no, tomorrow, no, Jameson, 7-Up, good. And I was like, what the hell? It's yeah, Ukrainians can drink, that's for sure. What are some of the best year Mustang or F-150 V8s to buy used? Honestly, I see more mileage out of the early model. The 11, 12, 13, 14 models. I see more mileage out of them coming in the shop. And us still paying premium trade-in for those vehicles and still selling for nice prices. Like we got one right now. I think it's like a 13 F-150 that I just did all the services on. The freaking thing is phenomenal. The only thing that was wrong with it was the 4-wheel drive switch. It's got like 109,000 miles on it. It's a blue color. It's Ford's nice, like that navy blue color. It's got a bed liner and stuff in it, I'm pretty sure. 4-wheel drive, and the truck just runs, man. Motor's super clean. The oil that came out of it's super clean, everything underneath of it, bone dry. It's up to like that 14-year model with even the Ecoboost that I just loved the way they all had metal pans. They didn't leak. They just ran. But then 15, 16 came along, and it's like, ugh. I like them. They're still good vehicles, but it was not the same as the previous year. But if you're talking about overall, do I prefer the 3.5 or the 5 liter? I'm a V8 guy, so I'm kind of biased. I like the 5 liter. 5 liter is my favorite motor. The best year overall for the F-150s? Honestly, I think the best performing F-150 overall is the 2014 model with a 6.2 liter. The 6.2 liter F-150 was a freaking workhorse. It was a workhorse. And the most you would have is a valve spring or something like that. An hour and a half, 2 hours later, you could have that spring replaced, the keepers back in and back on the road. Didn't matter. It was a freaking monster, and it would keep running. We have those 6.2s in the F-150 body, in the Limited, the Raptor. I think you could have gotten like a Platinum or something like that back then. We have them come in the shop with 240, 250, 260,000 miles on them. They still run like they're brand new. And they have a ton of power. They just run. Favorite engine to work on? The old 5.0. It's so easy to work on. You just rip it apart, have it apart in pieces by the end of the day, then mid next day have it all back together and running. Yeah. 6.2 overhead valve. Overhead valve. Flathead. I've never even worked on a flathead. I've always wanted to work on a flathead. The 7.3 gassers only come in for maintenance. We had one instance on the first launch where one truck, it was just one truck alone, needed 2 different torque converters before it was good. I don't know what happened. Thanks for the tip on the wheel bearing. It's a nasty sound. Hard to imagine it's a wheel bearing, but easy to check. Thanks. Long live the 5.0. Well, on that on those Rams, it's one nut. It's like a 27 millimeter or something like that. It's a 27 or a 32 millimeter. I forget, somewhere in there. And it's just one nut that holds that wheel bearing on. If you have a Ram like mine, I have an 01 Sport Ram. It's a 2-wheel drive, but it's a 5.2. And the same thing happened to me. I'm hearing this chunky grinding sound all of a sudden one day, and it's just chunky and grinding and loud. It sounds like it's coming right from the middle of the truck, and I jacked the front end up and I spun the wheel on the driver's side, and it's, oh my god. And took 30 minutes to change it, pull the wheel off, pull caliper bracket and stuff off, pull the rotor off of it, and it's one nut that holds it in, literally. That was it. Spun it right off, knocked the bearing off of it. It was a little rusty, cleaned everything back up, put the new bearing on, zipped the nut back on there, stuck the rotor and stuff back on. That was it. It was so easy to pull that thing up. Easiest wheel bearing I've ever done in my life. What time is it? So about 10 more minutes I'm going to get off here. If anybody has any questions, car questions. What's going on, Jason? Yeah, I don't have 4-wheel drive, so mine were just regular hubs. Super easy wheel bearings. I mean, they were like, I think it was like $125 for the wheel bearing. at AutoZone, and I needed it immediately, so I ran down to AutoZone, grabbed it, zipped it right on, no problem at all. Yeah, the Nissan worked out. I mean, it cleaned up a lot. I would probably say there's 70-80% clean. The lower end is completely spotless now because even the residual stuff that was in there, I cleaned it all out. No, never worked on CVTs, and I don't want to. I don't know anything about the zinc additives and that oil on the small engines. That's not really my forte. I don't have a thought on that because I never used it. Is it important to get smaller direct injection EcoBoost engine intake valves cleaned? Yeah, but if you start from the beginning, if you start running a cleaner through there, say every like 10,000 miles or something, from the beginning, you can cut down on a lot of that buildup really fast. You don't have to wait until 50,000 miles to do that, and then you don't have to worry about all that shit getting pushed into the motor and the catalytic converter and stuff like that. You can start early. That's what I tell people all the time. If you're buying a direct injection engine, start early. Start doing periodic cleanings on the intake system. They have boosted application direct injection cleaner. Oh, we don't even have a 2022 yet. I haven't seen one. The Dodge is okay, but I don't drive the Dodge all the time. I mean, I start it up and move it every once in a while. I got to go through the brace. It needs brakes. It needs calipers. It needs pads. I've let it sit too long. I drive the town car all the time. Yeah, the town car is, I love that car, man. It's my favorite car I've ever driven. Marvel cleaned out most of it. The Dodge still has a lot of cleaning that has to be done. I would say Marvel did its job on cleaning out the basic stuff. But to really get deep into that motor and stuff, I'm going to need another BG, full-blown industrial kit to get that motor super clean. Mine, Caddy, I guess the best ride I've ever been in overall, it's a 1970 Cadillac Eldorado. What is that, the 500 cubic inch front wheel drive motor? That thing just floated down the road. Yeah, it was like an air, it's just... We painted that car Hyundai. It was a Hyundai white with a bluish dry flake or dry spray pearl, and then put like 4 coats of clear on it, and then wet sanded the living hell out of that car, and it was like a pearl going down the road. Is a 2011 Crown Vic a decent car to own? Absolutely. Buy it. Love it. Appreciate it. Are the 2019 Escapes worth keeping? They are, if they've already had the block update done, because mid-2019 is when it changed. So if you had the previous one with the saw blade type relief between the pistons, it's only a matter of time before it starts spitting coolant into the cylinder. But I've seen some of them come in with, if you get the update done, there's nothing wrong with keeping that vehicle. The only downfall of that vehicle is the transmission. People don't like the transmission. Speedometer on my 91 F350 doesn't work. Any ideas? Was that still cable driven then? I've not worked on a 91 F350. Never even touched one. I got one running, put a vacuum pump on one, and did brakes on one. Bought it for $300 at auction as a non-runner. Took and put like 5 quarts of trans fluid in it, put a vacuum pump on it, fixed one of the gasket leaks, I don't remember what it was, and then turned around and a man from Ohio came out and paid $3,000 for the truck the next weekend. '16 F-150 3.0 or 3.5 Ecoboost going through ignition coils every few months. Are these a common failure point in this engine? They're not a common failure point, but I have seen a lot of them fail. And sometimes when they fail, they can actually take out the PCM as well. Can mess up the connector in the harness. Can take out the PCM. A lot of times that we find that if the plugs are changed, the ignition coil's good, and compression's not a problem. It could be fuel delivery, or it could be a bad PCM that's causing the issue. What brand of oil do I recommend for a 2.0 EcoBoost? Just run the stuff from the dealer, or get something, good quality, like Pennzoil Platinum Ultra. Mobil's good. Any name brand oil is going to be good as long as you change it more frequent than 7,000 miles, 10,000 miles. Do an oil change by 5,000 miles if you're on the highway, and if you're driving a lot of short trips locally, 3,000 miles. And if you're not driving quite 3,000 miles in a year, try to change it every 6 months at least. Running into the 2021 3.5 Expedition needing injectors on my cylinder 6. This is the 11th one in my fleet. Yeah, I don't... we did a set of injectors in a 2020 police cruiser, and that was it. Direct and port injectors, all of them, because it was flooding on startup. Alright guys, I'm going to jump off of here. We've been on here for quite a while, an hour and 13 minutes. I'm going to go home, hang out with family and stuff. And yeah, it was nice. Got the motor cleaned out for the most part. We'll be back here maybe tomorrow. If I get off work early enough, we'll be back here tomorrow and pull that valve cover and stuff off and see what it looks like under that valve cover, and try to identify the rocker that's coming apart. I appreciate y'all. If y'all are watching this and haven't hit that thumbs up, please do so. I mean, this information don't come free from a lot of people, and I give it to y'all because I care about y'all. So that would help me out a lot, just by people remembering when they get on here to hit that thumbs up. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, as always. Have a great night, and you'll see more of my face this week than you can care to stand anyway. So take care. Be blessed.